And now we've come to the portion of our show where we have to ask, what just happened? We can't believe it either, but let's take a look back at the insanity that was this week and look ahead to what will make us facepalm next week. This is What Just Happened on the Dean Obeidallah Show. Take it away, Dean.
And welcome back. I am Dean Obeidallah. Indeed, it's Friday, August 9th. We are live. It's our third hour every week. We're going to try to have some fun, have some serious moments as well. Our look back at the week, and we have three great people. Returning champion, Nina Kharoufeh. You may have seen her this week on the Food Network's Worst Cooks. She's a producer. Kharoufeh, I'm sorry. And congratulations on being on Food Network and being on the Worst Cooks and being eliminated in the first episode. But still, congratulations being on.
Thank you.
And you're back. And Xorje Olivares, we all know him and love him. Host right here in Sirius XM Progress, producer as well, journalist, really good guy. Xorje, how are you today?
I'm well. Thanks for inviting me. When you said returning champ, I thought you were talking about me.
You are a returning champ. I was just making her feel better.
Okay,
she
perfect.
lost this week on Food Network. So
Wow, Xorje.
Xorje will be playing the role of Bobby Flay later and asking you to leave again. And now a brand new guest on the show, Shalewa. Right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's
Shalewa
right.
Sharpe. You may have seen her HBO's Two Dope Queens, Comedy Central's The New Negroes, and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Her second comedy album, what's it called? So You Just Out Here? Available
You have to
August
say it that
19th.
way.
That's why I knew there was some attitude that I wasn't getting.
I added a question mark just to help people out.
So You're Just Out Here?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, my friend. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
So since it's the first time you're on the show, tell us a little bit about like how long are you doing comedy and you're here in New York?
Okay. So I started comedy 10 years ago in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Moved here to New York about 6 years ago. I was actually born in Brooklyn, and then my family moved because crackheads came. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like that played a part. So they moved to Atlanta in the 80s, and that's basically home where all my book learning's been.
Okay.
And so now I'm here and I'm telling jokes. And that
sounds like comedy's going great. Look at your
it.
credits. It's some great stuff going on.
Yeah,
your
it looks nice, right?
It looks really, from the outside really impressive.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And one day I will sit down and think about it all.
Well, welcome to the show and enjoy it. Have you been on John Fugelsang's show or Xorje?
No, I should put you on John Fugelsang's show.
Oh, yeah, I like
Connections.
John's in the afternoon. That's how it works here. It's all a network of people. So first thing, before we get into some funny stuff, I hope, Xorje, you
Yes.
are from Texas. Obviously, you've been on the show countless times. We learned today from the police report that the white supremacist terrorist was in fact a white supremacist terrorist who went there to kill Mexicans. And the two detectives he spoke to are both Hispanic, which I imagine was Detective Garcia and Hernandez, which I imagine was painful in another light. And also interesting that Hispanic detectives were interrogating a guy who was upset about a Hispanic invasion. So on some level, I enjoyed that part of it, but I can only imagine them hearing this guy saying that when they have loved ones and have to worry about it. Yeah. What's your reaction to hear that it's confirmed the guy was truly targeting Hispanics?
I mean, if you were to look at this manifesto, a lot of people don't like the word manifesto, but that's essentially what it was, where he talks about his intentions and why he was going about this destruction. And he talks about this Hispanic invasion, which a lot of people immediately afterwards tweeted out the correlation between words that Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson said and the stuff that was included in this guy's manifesto. So because of this language of invasion and invaders and Hispanics and Mexicans, it all ties into what Trump has been saying since the beginning, since he descended upon the escalator and talked about how Mexicans were rapists and murderers, right?
Right.
So when you look at the names of the people who passed away earlier this week when I was guest hosting Michelangelo Signorelli's show, I named everybody, and everybody's name sounds like mine. It's Garcias, it's Rodriguez, it's Gonzalez. It's people who, and the sad part is when you look at the ages, people in their 60s, people in their 80s, somebody who was 90. And some of the survivors, there was one survivor who was questioned afterward, and he said, oh yeah, he was targeting Mexicans because he saw white people, he saw black people, and he completely passed over them. But he went to the people who were praying in Spanish, and he automatically shot them. And that's the part that killed me the most. When you think about people in their final moments, like what you do, and people, especially Latinos, especially Mexicans, were very much a Catholic culture. I can imagine praying being the thing that you would do. It's something I would do. So the idea that once he heard Spanish, that he knew that these were the people that he was going to target. So I don't know. I'm not surprised based off of all the information that we've had since the beginning of it. El Paso is one of the biggest Latino communities in the country. Everybody talks about the fact it's from the border, and when everybody talks about the border crisis, everybody seems to go to El Paso first because of Ciudad Juarez, which is across the way from it.
Right.
So when people talk about Mexicans in the United States, El Paso is the first city that they always talk about. And the fact that you drive 600 miles to
confirm
do
that
this,
to the police. He drove 10 hours.
10 hours. And in Texas, I don't even fucking want to drive 3 hours to go from Austin to my hometown. So the idea that somebody drives 10 hours to seek out this assault, you know that there's literally nothing but hate in your heart. And hate in your heart for the kind of people that look like me and absolutely don't look like the person who exacted the violence.
It's a horrible, horrible thing. And let's talk about, so Donald Trump goes to El Paso yesterday, or Wednesday, and now we found footage yesterday where he's in the hospital and he's talking about bragging to the doctors in earshot of the people who are fighting for their lives and recovering, the crowd size he had, and has to take a swipe at Beto O'Rourke. So let's play that clip here. It's clip number 10, please.
To introduce to you the best medical staff in El Paso. They are fantastic and responded to all the victims that needed to be taken care of. The best professionals and people that you'll ever want to meet. Right here.
So, I don't know if you know it, but because you've been pretty busy lately, right?
Yes.
But they're talking about you all over the world. The job you've done is incredible, and it's an honor to be with you. Look at this group of people. Can you believe this?
Good looking people. They're fantastic.
I was here 3 months ago. We made a speech, and we had a what was the name of the arena? That place was packed, right?
I was front row.
Right? The judges are respected.
I was front row.
What was the name?
I was front row there.
He was in the
Oh,
front row.
good. Come here, man. That was some crowd.
Thank you for
And
all
we
that
had
you
twice
do.
the number
Thank you.
outside. And then you had this crazy Beto. Beto had like 400 people in a parking lot. They said his crowd was wonderful.
So, Nina, any reaction to that?
Donald Trump is a fat, disgusting human swine who needs to be impeached, and anyone who votes for him is a psychopath.
That's it.
Mic drop.
So, look, in the world of comedy, we've all met narcissistic people.
Ooh, we all are.
Well, we are.
I would dare say.
True.
We
that.
are, but we're not psycho like
But
he
right,
is.
but honestly, have you met any comedians who are close, and you may have, that are close to the egomaniac, self-centered deviant that Donald Trump is?
There are some with promise.
Right.
And they just don't have the means to do it. Donald Trump has always had the means to do it. Family money, people just looking at people admiring him because it seems like he's doing well, and he really feeds into that. And those delusions are basically what's guiding him through. Just the whole, do you hear, everyone else in the world's talking about you. You guys are doing a great job. That's what everyone's talking about. Really? That's what everyone's talking about when they're talking about how good a job?
Not the white supremacist terrorists that kill people.
Not the reason that they're even having to do this job. They just skipped over that. But in his brain, yes, they've completely moved to wherever it is he is, and they're just talking about that. And about Beto having 400 people in a parking lot. No one is even... Truly, no one's thinking about that right now. Beto isn't.
And you
thinking about
neglected
that.
to mention that he still owes the city of El Paso $470,000 for his rally.
I really thought I thought, well, maybe he'll just get up there, and they're like, nah, bro, we're gonna need you to. we're gonna need to run a card first or something.
Seth Meyers,
we need a deposit.
Seth Meyers joked about putting a boot on Air Force One, like in New York City. You don't pay what you owe us, you're not getting your plane, which I thought would have been a great thing to do. To think about that level of narcissism where you're there, the doctors are surrounding you. That's why I played the doctor's part, so people knew he was in the hospital. Literally, it was the first moment after visiting some patients. He's there in the waiting room. It's a great crowd. Look at all these people. They're doctors and patients here. It's not like they gathered around to see you. They're fighting for their lives in some cases. And then talk about how big... I don't know how you meant the synapses in your brain get to that. Like, how do you go from terrorist attack, I'm visiting people who... just met a baby whose parents died in the shooting
and took a picture with his thumbs up.
Thumb up
as
picture.
if it was
and they had to
regular
bring
campaign
that
photo.
baby back. That baby had already been discharged. And they had to bring, and I'm not sure who brought the child back is what I'm trying, like grandparents or something.
And then Trump probably had ice to port the baby
I'm
afterwards.
very concerned. And if you look at that photo, the woman in that photo is not happy. Not at all.
You mean
And
Melania or the other? Melania, she's awkward.
I just wonder what is what's going on in his kid's head? Like, do they think this is normal? Do they text him like, "Yo, Dad, calm down"?
You mean
like,
maybe Tiffany, the one that's not really part of the family?
Yeah,
might
Tiffany,
be
or
like,
even Barron. Remember that one?
Like, hey, you're being a fucking crazy
What's
person.
he doing?
Settle down.
Barron's going around like, I'm not really his son. That's what he's walking around telling me, like, I'm not.
That
we're not
is
really.
possible.
But I appreciate that the people who were still hospitalized from the attack were like, no, we don't want to see you.
That's right.
And I appreciate that because the thing that a lot of people seem to... I appreciate that there's some outlets that are talking about the Latino focus of this entire situation. El Paso's 80-something% Latino.
Wow.
The fact that this guy's talked about openly about how he was anti-Mexican. Like, to talk about how Latino people, specifically people from the border, and I know this because everybody in my family, we talk about this, like the continued assault on our community, and everyday Americans seem to think that it's not necessarily okay, but don't really sympathize with our plight because nothing like this has happened before. And now here you have somebody literally going out and gunning us down because we look like we do. And he's like, where can I find the most Mexicans? I'll just go to the border. I'll go to El Paso because Donald Trump was in El Paso. Donald Trump was talking about the Mexicans that love him. So it's if now more so than ever before has become such a scary time to be Latino and to be very visibly Mexican because of what people have said, like Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, anybody else in this weird white supremacist sphere that seems to give the thumbs up, literally like in this photo.
I read a thread on Twitter that was just about the emotional toll that people of color are feeling, that are taking right now, that is not, you don't read about it in media because media is majority white, so they don't even think to look for that or that that's an issue, but that people of color right now are in serious pain, and it's like nothing that we really know. The elders know,
Right.
but the elders aren't going to be with us for long, and apparently we've decided that their dollar doesn't count, so neither does their voice. And it's a shame. It's a shame, but yeah, it's super painful, and we just need to be mindful of who's telling the stories.
Yeah.
And to your point, the reason Maggie Haberman from New York Times was on. She's a great writer, but she wrote an article yesterday about this woman, Katie Hopkins. I'm sorry?
Really
I was like, that's very kind of you.
She's a good writer. She's a writer for a long time. She's a professional level writer. So, and I write too. I'm not comparing our writing style. She's a great writer. But here's to your point, Shalewa, the idea of who is telling the story and how it impacts what you're going to see. She wrote about Katie Hopkins, who most people don't know. She's a UK anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, even anti-Semitic bigot, horrible person. I wrote about the woman a few weeks ago for CNN, and my headline was, "Here is the bigot that Trump is retweeting." She wrote, and I put all the stuff that she did, calling a black guy a jigaboo, being banned from South Africa.
That's
literally,
old school.
like on Twitter,
Wow.
and being banned from South Africa for spreading racial hatred because she was saying there was a white genocide of farmers by black gangs, and it's not true at all, and they banned, and all this horrible stuff. Kate, and what you have from Maggie Haberman's articles, that she uses terms like she's provocative and far right and not white supremacist, not anti, and she talks about Muslims. She goes, and she called for a final solution of Muslim about terrorists. No, she called for a final solution of Muslims and didn't give any context. That was Hitler's solution to exterminate all Jews. That's what she called for, exterminating all Muslims. And Maggie Haberman didn't give any context. And because I'm a person of color who comes from a community that is under siege, that people want to work in our mosque and kill us, that I gave it context. And I was so upset with her article yesterday because she elevated, and she even interviewed Katie Hopkins. It's like the David Duke of the UK, and she writes about her like.
But Donald Trump is urging. But Donald Trump's urging unity over racism. Dean, don't forget, the New York Times even said it on the front page.
Oh, that's what that was.
That headline.
It was a different article, but still.
No,
two
but like
things by
this,
New York
this
Times.
idea that everybody's, especially when I went to journalism school, and everybody talked about how the thing that you want to aspire to is you want to work at the New York Times, the paper of record. Of course. And everybody holds it up. And Nate Silver from 538 blog was talking about how that headline and how people feel about Maggie Haberman, it goes into this innate arrogance that people within the times have, where they think that they're above it all and that they can do all these pieces, and especially like the Hope Hicks piece that they did, that I don't know if she did it or somebody else did.
But Meg Haberman, to me, it's white privilege. Her white
Yeah.
privilege lets her write an article from arm's distance about a person who's inciting hate against blacks, especially immigrants. She said, I wouldn't send rescue boats to go to the migrants. I would send gunships. Literally wrote that, calling it migrants cockroaches. And that's barely mentioned in the article. And Trump retweeted that woman just hours for the El Paso shooter. Keeps retweeting her. He retweeted her twice today. And our media yawns. White privilege lets you yawn at someone inciting violence against black and brown people. That's what white privilege is. That's another example of it.
It looks like it's they're viewing it as a sociology project. You know what I mean? There's just this whole wall where they're like, well, let's see how they work this out. And it's like, no, you have some sort of power in that you have all of the power, it seems, that you worked real hard for.
Right.
You destroyed whole civilizations to get. So this may fall under your purview. But yeah, it is insane to see that even build up like that, and then just tweets like, meh.
All right, we got to take a break because we'll come back. Nina will tell us what she cooked on Worst Cooks on the Food Network. Have you seen the clip?
You posted it on Instagram,
I
right?
did.
Right. She was literally, it just aired. It aired this week?
It aired last Sunday.
All right, let's take a break, though. Come back with more of the Dino Vidala Show and our look back at the crazy week. When we come back, let's talk about something fun, like Tucker Klansman, as I call him, denying that white supremacy exists and calling it a hoax. And we can all share our own experiences about how it's such a hoax. We'll be right back with Dino Vidala Show.
White power! Dan Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obeidallah.
Actually, wasn't decided that I'm everyone's favorite host. That's just the announcer saying.
I mean, I was asked, and I
No, I
nominated
remember
you.
that
you did?
poll.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
I
you.
do
Thank you,
remember
guys.
that.
It was like Joe Madison's going to the National Radio Hall of Fame, and then Dean Obeidallah, everyone's favorite radio
I'm going
host.
to the Bayonne Hall of Fame. It's like a Jersey thing, which people watch around. Here with Jorge Olivares, Shalewa Sharpe making her debut here on the Dean Obeidallah Show, and our good friend Nina from, you might know her from the Food Network, from Worst Cook. Let's play a clip of Colbert this week talking about who supports Donald Trump, and we can then talk about who he's talking about. Here's clip number 12, please, Matt.
Biden compared Trump's leadership unfavorably to his predecessors.
American presidents have stepped up in the past. George H.W. Bush renouncing his membership in the NRA. President Clinton after Oklahoma City. George W. Bush going to a mosque after 9/11. President Obama after Charleston. Presidents who led, who opposed, chose to fight for what the best of American character is about. There's deafening silence now. Sadly, we don't have that today. Our president has aligned himself with the darkest forces in this nation.
Wrong. I align myself with the whitest forces in this nation. Come on, Joe, at least read my Twitter manifesto. Are these thumbs doing nothing? Why, are they working for nothing?
I've been calling, before Colbert said it, Trump's tweets, his manifesto. I said, look what we've read on his manifesto today. It's the same thing. But, Tucker Klansman, as I've been calling him for over a year, Tucker Klansman, is said that this week, I won't play the clip. He said that, okay, we'll play the clip. Let's not play the clip. Let's play the clip. So give everybody context, in case people are just tuning in for a second. Like, what do you mean Tucker Klansman said this? Here's Tucker Klansman earlier this week on white supremacy, and then we can discuss it when we come back. Clip number 8, please.
As part of their relentless bid to divide this country, Democrats have been warning about white supremacy relentlessly. After the El Paso shooting, the left demanded that President Trump denounce a supposedly existential threat to our nation.
White supremacists being radicalized, and when the leader of the free world can't condemn that.
We need to hear from that person strongly condemning and rebuking this ideology.
It's the arsonist coming and saying they want to help put out the fire.
But the whole thing is a lie. If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably. It's actually not a real problem in America. The combined membership of every white supremacist organization in this country, would they be able to fit inside a college football stadium? I mean, seriously. This is a country where the average person is getting poorer, where the suicide rate is spiking. White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. Just like the Russia hoax. It's a conspiracy theory used to divide the country and keep a hold on power.
So Tucker doesn't think there's a thing called white supremacy in America. It's a hoax. Shelley, what's your reaction? Do you think there is white supremacy in this country?
I mean, I grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And if you're unfamiliar, Stone Mountain is a large piece of granite that has 3 Confederate Army heroes etched in the side, and there's a park around it. Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Wow.
I could see the mountain from my window. So I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yeah. When my family moved out there, the Klan was still doing rallies on the top of the mountain. They've since switched it to a fun laser show. But they still, when needed and called upon, will rally, which they did in 2016. And I was like, oh, okay, y'all are still out here, fantastic. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that his tone, Tucker's tone, sounds so desperate, like, and I'm like, yeah, you did it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you're trying to convince me you didn't do, you did. Absolutely. I'm not buying it.
So, Nina, he said there's only maybe a college football stadium, like 50,000 white supremacists in the country. And, there were only 19 hijackers on 9/11. They did a lot of damage. So if there's 50,000 of these, there's far more than 50,000. So, Nina, have you had any run-ins with white supremacists? people have said things to you?
I mean, in this building, I can name a few.
In this
I'm
room?
not in this room, but in
Okay.
this building. I mean, can you blame Tucker Carlson for saying something so stupid? He doesn't even have a brain. He literally looks like a bowling ball pin with a wig on. Like he's just such an angry little monster that he's just gonna try to rattle up his base and say a bunch of bullshit that doesn't make any sense to try and get to like the white people who also don't have brains and just convince them of this notion that there's no such thing as white supremacy when obviously there is. They literally have rallies in the streets and record them and put them on Facebook and tweet crazy things and have cutouts of AOC while they're groping her and like trying to kiss her and all this insane, inhumane things. Like, what does he have to say about those? Are they part of the 50,000?
Well, can he name all the 50,000? Is there like some sort of a list? You can tell white supremacists, they're the ones that say like immigrants are an invasion, that they're invaders.
They're the ones who agree with Donald Trump that somehow undocumented immigrants are animals, that they deserve to be caged, that these kids, I get tweets all the time from trolls who always say that it's the parents' fault, not Donald Trump's fault, that these kids are in cages.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too.
But the thing is, with
It's the
regards
worst
to
argument.
Tucker Carlson talking about white supremacy and how is this hoax, the FBI, or it was somebody within the intelligence community who was testifying before Congress.
Christopher Wray testified
and
in July.
Specifically said that a lot of the instances that they're seeing of domestic terrorism have to deal with white supremacists.
Primarily of the 100 arrests.
100,
I wrote about it.
exactly.
That's why I know this. I'm
And
not
so-
showing off.
I was like, damn,
I'm just a little
dude.
smart. I'm just want to put it out there that I'm the
Dean's
one
the
filling in
smartass.
Jorge and
Yes.
everything. Okay.
But the fact that people within the federal government that is only now with Donald Trump at the head trying to condemn white supremacy, the fact that somebody within the federal government who is paid to know this information is telling us to our face white supremacy is a big deal, and somehow it's not meant to be. Like, when you think about the demographics of Fox News, right? I don't think somebody my age is watching Fox News. I just don't. And so when you
Jorge's 47.
exactly.
And he's 20. How old are you? Like 18?
12.
12.
Please don't do that to me. But this idea that most of the people who have these ideas are more than likely of the generation that watches Fox News, and so it's safe for Tucker to say these things.
They
because
love it.
Those people aren't going to go anywhere.
But
I gotta say, actually, there are young people watching Fox News.
There's also young people who work at Fox News.
And
they believe it, and they're just in the rest of the country. But I'm here to tell
hello,
you,
the gunman in El Paso was in his 20s.
Good
The
point.
gunman in New Zealand in the mosque was in his 20s. The gunman who went to the California church synagogue who killed one person there, not the big one in October, was also in her 20s.
I don't think
They might
Fox
not be
News
watching-
is radicalizing them. It's
No.
all these right-wing sites
Right.
that they're going to
But
in
also,
these Facebook
here's what
memes.
they hear on Fox News. We just had Angela Corson on. Do you know Angela from
Yeah,
Media
from
Matters?
Media Matters.
This is the thing they put together, how Fox News is giving people white nationalist words. And when you hear words like replacement, that's their big thing, the great replacement theory, that white people will be replaced by brown or black people.
Isn't that why people think that they're having those abortion laws?
Yes,
in Alabama,
absolutely.
So white
Yeah,
women don't
absolutely.
go extinct.
Yes.
Oh,
and that's why.
interesting.
Yeah,
I
and
have
it's
the whole theory.
hilarious. It's hilarious to me because
That whole theory is hilarious.
I've seen that theory just happen on Twitter, and white people go, "Wow, there's this theory," and
Yeah, they're
isn't
not trying
that-
to regulate
Isn't
women.
that wild? And Black Twitter come in like, "Yeah, we've been saying this for generations. Like, as soon as your numbers start to dwindle, and also, no offense, white folks, but y'all are starting to act like it's last call."
And also, I mean,
yo, I got to get my last whiskey, and there are all these people in line who weren't here before, and yeah, so
And
there's
listen, here's from, it's like 40-second clip, number 7, Fox News. It's cut together all different anchors using the coded language of replacement theory and invasion, not even coded on invasion and on your people are coming here to invade the country and our people are here and Shalewa, your people are already here. We're all here, and let's hear clip number 7.
Your views on immigration will have zero impact and zero influence on a House dominated by Democrats who want to replace you, the American voters, with newly amnestied citizens. and an ever-increasing number of chain migrants.
And I actually hate litter, which is one of the reasons I'm so against illegal immigration.
Illegal immigrants are burglars, are thieves who are there to harm your security and steal your prosperity.
What's happening at the border is a flat-out invasion. We are being overwhelmed every day.
As the illegal invasion at our southern border intensifies,
it is an invasion.
And I'm going to call it an invasion, like it or not.
You have a group of people that are invading the U.S. border, right? And they're being held in facilities.
I'm not against the immigrants. I just am for Americans, and nobody cares about them. It's like, shut up, you're dying, we're going to replace you.
See, replacement. You
This
hear
is
it, Lord.
angering me so much just listening to this.
Oh, man, are they? Whew. I didn't realize they were that hot under the collar.
That is white nationalism television. That is white nationalism television.
My goodness. They're angry.
It's
Tell us, Jorge, how do you feel when you listen to that?
Because, especially with the news of this week with these raids, right? When you see the video of this 11-year-old girl that's been circulating, I think it's been viewed 6 million times on Twitter. This little girl who's 7 years old, who's like, today's the first day of school, and I have nothing to go home to. I don't know what I'm going to eat. I don't know who's going to pick me up. My dad's been taken away. I don't understand why everybody just doesn't see that my dad needs a job.
Right.
And she tries to be as eloquent as possible, considering she's in tears because somebody just stole her father away. 680 people taken. And then there was a story about here in New York, in Brooklyn, how ICE tried to go to a homeless shelter to take undocumented people away, as if they are these criminals who are trying to just make life worse for everybody else in this country. To show, like, especially when you talk about it in these terms, when you see that these are the most destitute of people, and somehow we're being told to fear them, and that we're being told that somehow they are going to be the ones who are going to do this uprising and take this country away from us. It is absolutely abhorrent to know that money goes and fuels this propaganda that's happening at Fox News, and that there's so many people who eat it up with a spoon and already want a second helping every single day. It's absolutely angering.
Yeah. And advertisers are still advertising on Fox News. They lost a few from Tucker Carlson's show in the last few days, but it's a
Long
big
John
audience.
Silver's, what's up? Doing the right thing. Didn't know you were still in the mix, but good for you.
That's
We should all quit Soul Cycle.
Well, that was
the Soul
different.
Cycle
So,
Equinox thing, yeah.
what about did you guys see that about the Equinox? Stephen Ross had his fundraiser. He had it today in the Hamptons. Soul Cycle Equinox owner had, and apparently he was not big for Trump before, but the racism and bigotry over the last few years really made him go like, I gotta have a fundraiser for this guy. I like the cut of this guy's jib.
Well, the thing that sucks is, so both Soul Cycle and Equinox came out with a statement, and they tried to describe him as a passive investor, as if though, hi, we know that he owns the company that owns you guys, and you want to try to make it seem like there's no correlation whatsoever between what he does and how y'all operate. I tweeted out to Kiehl's because Kiehl's puts all the soaps and stuff and the moisturizers. And I said, Kiehl's, like, loved you during Pride. Thanks so much. Appreciate your support. But as a person of color consumer, what are you doing about this? And I was...
Did you get a response?
I did get a response, and if you give me a moment, I'll try to find it. But it was not at all... It was pretty shitty. It was a pretty dumb response where they try to do the whole thing of, well, we believe in diversity and inclusion.
Whatever. Their cream is too thick anyway.
Yes. No, for real.
I emailed the manager at Equinox.
It says, at Kiehl's, we encourage inclusivity and celebrate diversity amongst our customers, community, and employees. We believe in embracing who we are as individuals, regardless of gender, race, religion, or who we choose to love, which has always been core to our brand values. Our goal is always to make our products available to our customers, including being present in locations that suit their lifestyles. So that in no way talks
that was
about
just
how
the diversity, like, word salad.
It was
that
copy
they
and
just
paste.
spit out.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. We need did we use Creed? Stick Creed in there. Yeah, no one.
But it's because I feel like all these different brands who have been able to elevate themselves, and you know what? I don't own a business. I don't know what that's like, but if you are challenged because of these very different times that we live in, like, I understand people can make donations, and this goes to the Joaquin Castro story, right?
Right.
Like, I understand that people are free to make whatever donations they want to make, but Donald Trump is a completely different politician and a completely different human who's operating at a level we've never seen before in this country. So I think it's perfectly fine to call out a Keels or an Equinox or a Soul Cycle or a Bill, what the fuck is the place in Bill Miller Barbecue in Texas? Like, it is okay to call these people out because you can definitively say that their money is going to fuel an administration that is doing incredibly horrific things to people of color, to queer people, and to marginalized communities that our country is just not.
And also,
to
it's
deal
a
with.
bad move as a business person to give Donald Trump any money. Any money. He's hiding all of that. The whole shell game between where are his funds? Where are they coming from? What's the tax situation? And you're still going to fundraise for him? Y'all is nuts. I can't believe you'd be a business person and go, no, I'm going to cut this guy a check. That's insane.
I emailed Equinox, a manager, and I said, I heard you're going to have whites only spin class. Is that true?
Oh my God. You're such a troll.
And I got this response with this whole thing about we embrace diversity here.
And it's diversity has become such a hot button word where they feel like they can just throw it.
They can just throw it and it's going to take care of
anything.
Yeah, it's not. It does nothing.
But Mike Signorelli, did you see Mike Signorelli
handed out flyers
and got some people to cancel their subscription?
Also, I want to say to my people who don't make much money but are attempting to get their heart rate up, Equinox owns Blink Fitness. So sorry, we're gonna have to go to pizza night at Planet Fitness, I guess.
New York Sports and Crunch, they're like, hey, we don't, come work out. We're not racist. I guess that's what their slogan going to be.
We're not racist. I mean,
we're not like
you're not.
We're
white,
not
that's
down
cool.
with white supremacy. Why don't you come join us? We don't, So I'm sure they'll take advantage of it. Nina's waving.
Dang, Nina,
you're
sorry.
waving.
So
Nina's in the studio
popular.
just waving at people walking.
They're
past.
waving at me first.
They're waving at her like it's like a tourist attraction. Like something like you're in a glass.
That was Liquid
cage.
Todd.
Liquid Todd? I don't even know what that is. All right, let's take a
It's
break.
It's a person.
Let's take a break. We'll come back, and Nina will tell us all the rest of her friends she has and the nicknames you have for the other people here at SiriusXM. Let's be right back after this.
I can't understand you. Go back to your country, white power.
Progressive values are the best of American values, and we need to keep fighting for them to save our country.
Don't go anywhere. This is the Dean Obadala Show on SiriusXM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dino Vidala.
Wait, are we playing? What did they say?
And welcome back. What happened already? What did you say?
I feel like at this time we normally play What Did They Say?
Oh, no. Guess who said it? That's
Guess who
not
said it.
what did they say. It's time for the game, man.
Yeah.
Now, it's time for America's newest game show sensation. Guess who said it?
I was getting nervous there, Dean.
Thank you. I've got and I don't know the answers because they're not highlighted on this page here. Hang on. Damn it, I'm going to have to guess who got it right.
I bet you miss me,
I got it.
don't
No,
you?
I got it here. This is what Lauren gave me. Here we go. So it's our game here. Where I read a quote from the news and give you 4 options. Collectively, hopefully we'll get most right. It was a few weeks ago I had people who were so bad I was giving them, I'm like, take 2. Because I was so embarrassed. Like, it was horrible. All right, here we go. Regarding the shooting in El Paso, I'm not going to stand next to Trump as he pretends to care about what is happening in the community. I hope he truly does care, but these are really difficult and important conversations that need to be had. They can't be had in a moments of passing. AOC, or was it Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, Congressman Joaquin Castro, or Beto O'Rourke?
Congresswoman, the second one.
I think it's Escobar.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go with you.
Good answer.
Escobar.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nina saw that. I'm pretty sure Nina saw the answers.
I saw that
Lauren, is she
clip.
looking over my shoulder? Okay. you
No,
saw it.
I
Okay,
swear
okay.
I'm not. I always cheat, but I won't cheat today.
All right, so...
That's a good way to live.
Yeah.
This is a time of frustration. It's a hard time for America. But this country is not on the brink of genocide. It's not even close to that. This is not a white supremacist country plotting the slaughter of its own people. It's a kind country. Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Pete Haigsmith.
Sean Hannity.
I'm going to say Laura Ingraham.
No, I'm gonna say Sean Hannity.
Wrong. Tucker Klansman. That was a more intellectual way for the Klansman to express his thing.
I was thinking Tucker.
All right, here we go. Another one. I think impeachment is something that will work to provide this country the relief that it needs. The president believes that white makes right. He believed this. We have to challenge him and take him on. Congressman Al Green, Nancy Pelosi, Tom Steyer, Congressman Jerry Nadler.
Jerry Nadler.
No, Al Green.
Al Green.
You can't change
You
your answer.
seemed confident.
Shalewa?
Tom Steyer.
Yeah, I'll say Al Green.
You guys were all right. You got very well played. I like that quote so much by Al Green that I was like, I love it. All right, here we go.
Let's stay together.
Well, Jesus Christ, of course he's racist. He's been racist from day one, before day one, when he was questioning whether Barack Obama was born in the United States. Who said that?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders?
Me.
Tim Ryan, Julian Castro, or Beto O'Rourke?
That's Beto O'Rourke.
No, wait. What was the third choice?
I don't even remember. I should make him the as I went along. No, I know. Tim Ryan, Julian Castro, Bernie Sanders, or Beto?
I feel like it's the Castro.
The correct answer, some of you right, some of you wrong, was Beto.
The Texas
I don't
boy.
like
Well,
losing.
Julian's a Texas boy too.
I quit.
We don't want
Only because
insane
Beto's
people.
more.
Yeah, Beto the other day is like, what the hell? What the F is
Yeah,
wrong
what
with
the
you people?
fuck, Prez?
Right, yeah, I know.
But you
so-
read it in a Bernie voice. You sabotaged us.
Enough is enough. Well, Jesus Christ, of course he's a racist. Bernie was on the show this week, and I asked him about
that's right.
ice cream for all. We did a thing here. All right, here we go. We don't want insane people, mentally ill people, bad people, dangerous people. We don't want guns in the hands of the wrong people. Moscow Mitch, Tucker Klansman, Donald Trump, or Mick Mulvaney?
I'll say Mick Mulvaney.
Me too.
Who is Mick Mulvaney?
I don't know, but I'm
staff.
going to just
He's
answer
the
whatever
actual
she
chief of
says.
staff.
Oh.
And he's
Oh,
also,
I knew that.
He's also a
Just
leprechaun.
kidding.
No,
He
no.
was in Lord
what's
of the Rings.
What's the first choice?
Moscow Mitch, Tucker Klansman, Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be Mulvaney, isn't it?
I was so confident
It
too.
was the Grand Wizard
I
in
copied
Chief.
off of you, and this is what
The
happens.
Grand Wizard in Chief, Donald Trump. That said it. I know it sounded a little bit more reasonable than Donald Trump usually. All right, we got like 5 minutes left. I want to play this quick thing. Here is Colbert. Just quick joke. Clip number 1, please.
Right now, what is this? What is this? How many, 50 years into the Trump presidency? Just 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Whew, 2.5 years. Someone tell my mirror. Only 2.5 years into the Trump presidency. And President Trump says so many stupid things, it's easy to forget a few here and there. Like the time he said he got bigger crowds than Jay-Z, or the time he said Venezuelans were all descended from inbred conquistadors, or the time he said windmills cause cancer. And I may have made one of those up, but at this point, does it matter which one? Anyway.
For the record, it was the second one he made up, the Conquistadors. But the other two were absolutely correct. This is
Sadly, I couldn't figure out which one was made up.
Well, no, that's sort of the point. Like, it's all, nothing means anything. There's no facts. We're not tethered to any kind of reality right now. And the media, let's talk about the media and how sucky they are. And there are some great people in the media, but collectively, I've never been more. No, I'm talking, when I say media, I really almost mean cable news media more. Print has been pretty good. Here and there are exceptions. But I mean, I am so concerned, and so many callers and listeners have said this too, that Trump has been good for ratings. He brought it up again this week. I'm good for ratings. And he's right. He has been. That subtly, subconsciously, or consciously, you were talking about implicit, unconscious bias, some executives might help Trump again by giving him a little bit more extra coverage here or there, not asking the tougher questions, because he really has been good for their bottom line.
That's because that's what he knows. That's his true business. What he really knows is how to get attention and capitalize off of that. That's the only reason he's where he is now, is because of television shows. So he knows how that works. He may not know the nitty gritty of how TV works, but he knows how to get people to pay attention. So that's his true currency. And he knows that it's a currency that cable news needs desperately. So they have to be simpatico. And the minute that they're like, no, you know what, I think we're going to lean into the news part of cable news, he's done.
I think that for the most important people, and I think I've talked about this in the show, like social media managers carry a lot of weight, because I don't have cable. I don't watch MSNBC all day. I don't watch CNN all day. Whatever their Twitter accounts tweet out are the videos that I consume.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of people, especially if they're a digital forward constituency, that is what they consume. So if the CNN digital team thinks that this is the video that we should be watching, or the MSNBC team thinks that this is what we should be watching, the Fox News team thinks this is what we should be watching, this is what we watch. Because otherwise, I'm not at 10 p.m. watching Hannity. I'm not watching Anderson Cooper. I'm not watching Shepard Smith. Like, these aren't the people that I have a chance to watch, because life's fucking tough and I can't afford cable. And so it really is important what people are choosing to disseminate, because that is how this propaganda moves forward. That is how, like, if you only put forward clips of Donald Trump speaking, then everyone's going to see Donald Trump's, spewing this hate or spewing these lies and nothing else. And that's really unfortunate.
And the key is to watch him. The key, like, you can read it and your eyes cross because it doesn't make sense. The key is to watch him, and then you're like, oh no.
I'm wondering what he has to do or say in order for Twitter to at least suspend him.
He's violated all the rules.
I don't
Everybody
know how
else
they
would be
have
gone.
done it.
He's literally the Teflon Don that everyone
Like,
has
some of my
spoken
friends
of
have
before.
tweeted stupid jokes and gotten suspended.
He bullies people and makes racist comments. Anybody else would be gone. So we've learned there's two exceptions. The president's above the law in two places. One, he can't be indicted as president, and second, he can't be suspended from Twitter.
Also, he
which is
can't
fundamentally
spell.
wrong.
And you would think that all this stuff,
stupid.
because didn't they say it's part of the presidential proclamation? Like, there's all these things go into the record, right?
Yes.
Like, because these are statements that are being
these
made
are
by the president.
yeah.
They're supposed to be authorized
Oh my
things.
God.
But if that's even true, what's going to be done with that information? Absolutely nothing's been done so far.
I think he'd have a mental breakdown if he got suspended on Twitter.
It would
He'd
be the greatest
literally
thing ever.
have
You know how
a
great the take
meltdown.
That
away
might
that
be his
power?
Rumpelstiltskin moment. That might be the thing.
He'd end up in the fucking psych ward.
You know how it would help all of us? Because the media would stop following every tweet like a dog chasing a bone. The media cycle would change. It would be remarkably great. But let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll sum up this week right after this.
Dean Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
Your entire week's exhausting news broken down in one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obeidallah.
That's the most excited announcer ever. I wish I could get that excited in my life.
So
well,
excited.
guys, I want to thank you. And let's talk. Shalewa, tell us a little bit about where you're going to be and what website they want to follow you on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I'm on all of the social medias that I understand and even some that I don't. On all of it, my handle, my name is Silky Jumbo.
Jumbo.
All one word, traditional spelling. And or you can find me just out there lurking.
And your new comedy album's coming out August 19th?
I have a comedy album coming out August 19th. It's called So You Just Out Here, and I am.
So you just out. She said, Jorge, what do you got going on, my friend?
So tomorrow, Affirmative Reaction on this channel from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern. Going to be joined by reporter Adrian Carrasquillo talking about everything that happened with the Latino community. And my friend Larry Fellows, who is from Ferguson, is going to talk about the 5-year anniversary of the riots there and how not much has changed for that community.
And Nina, my friend?
So I'm leaving on Friday for my very first international show. If you're listening and you're in Palestine, August 18th to the 22nd, we'll be in Bethlehem, Ramallah, and Jerusalem.
Bethlehem.
7 shows. Come if you're listening and you live in Palestine.
And my family's from outside of Bethlehem. I would tell them to.
Yes,
I'll tell them to come over. If they
please.
get around the wall, the wall cuts them from Bethlehem. But I'll try to get them there.
Oh my God, there's a wall there too?
Yes,
There's
my
walls
God.
everywhere in
All
Palestine.
over the place.
Hashtag occupation.
They've cited the wall. Trump has glowingly cited the Israeli wall many times. You never heard of it? Israel's got a wall. So thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you have a great week and have some fun. I'm on Twitter at Dean Obeidallah, or drop me an email, dean@deanofradio.com. And I hope you check out Saturday's replay, the Our Election, Securing Our Election for 2020 special with Malcolm Nance. We play Saturday night or listen to it on demand. Learn a lot. Have a great weekend. I'm going to be on MS tomorrow, I think, and Joy Reid Show Sunday morning. So check out Joy Reid Show Sunday morning. Have a great night, everyone.